You go.
Hi, I'm Norman Hector McClean. I'm Jewish. No, my name is Taramat, and I'm sitting here in the windowsill of my grand uncle's croft at 7 Stromore, North Uist. My grand uncle was called Callan Ellen. His patronymic was Colin, son of Alan McKinnon. And he was a creator here. He was a shoemaker, and he had a wee shop in here. Not only did he make shoes, bespoke shoes, for a lot of people, including the nobility of the island, but he also sold sweets. And young people would come to this place, which was called Ty Ningoer, the house of the goats, because the land, as you can see, is so sour. They wouldn't even support sheep. Only goats could live in this wee croft. It extends to about 4.5 acres, so technically it is a croft. And if I had treated my body like a temple, I'd be fitter today and I'd be actually crofting. But I don't know what you could grow here. No, I look around and I say, no, I don't think so. But anyway, what happened was his daughters, Kirsty and Sheena, they were in the house until the late 60s, I think, yes. And then when they passed on, the house fell to my mother, Peggy Haramich, she was called, Peggy McKinnon, married to my father, a guy called Neil McLean. And she came into the house, and a strange thing happened. I was making a lot of money at that time. It's hard to believe now, because I'm in a school pension and grey with penury. But at that time I was making a lot of money, and I had an ambition to do this place up, to refurbish it. I took advice from a gifted architect from South Uist. I don't want to identify him because I have no wish to provide anybody with material for a legal action against me. But this guy, as an architect, you know, he was quite a good crofter maybe. He had ideas of galleries going up here where I would play my pipes of an evening and I don't know what else, maybe display art or something. But that fell by the wayside. And then I would say around about 1988, another friend of mine from South Uist, another psychotic actually, must be something in the acid rain up in South Uist, came up to me in Glasgow and said, "Ilukoma Haramich, get a hoodies me pewich in the groove jacket mahua. Is it a matter of indifference to you, Norman, if I put beasts on your croft in North Uist, 7 Stromore?" And I said, "Oh, I wouldn't support maybe a couple of goats, maybe." No, he said, "I have a new idea. We're going to have ostriches." What? Ostriches, the coming thing. There are restaurants in London who are desperate for ostrich steaks. They come into maturity after about 25 years, and I'm proposed to keep ostriches here. And I'm going to show you the plans. I unfurled a big piece of parchment and said, "Now this is the original tattooey. This is the original croft. But over here I'm making a T-junction, and I'm going to have a jacuzzi in there and a gallery for the audience." What audience? Well, people who come to the house, they can gather round. It'll be tiered like a theatre. And what's this extension here? Well, that's the bedrooms. For what? I'm not doing B&B or anything. No, that's for the girls. What girls? The Russian girls. What Russian girls? The girls from Novosibirsk. I was over there and they're just nuts about the bagpipes. And they'll come over and they'll look after the ostriches. Well, you'd think I'd been smoking something when I relate this to you, but it's the truth. And I used it as a catapult or a springboard for a wee novel I wrote called Dacha Mogud. There's an English version too, called Dearest Dacha, about Russian girls and hostages and naughty goings-on in darkest North Uist. 3 con men from South Uist, inept. A nice wee tale. You devour it between, I would say, between Lochboysdale and Oban, steamer. But anyway, back to this, the history of this place. I did nothing with it. About 3-4 years ago, I transferred my right as a tenant to my wife, Peggy Maclean, who is resident in Oban, and we have an ideal marriage. You know, I'm here in Carinish, North Uist, Lower Town, I hasten to add, rather than Upper Town. I'm in Lower Town, Carinish, and she's in Oban, and she wanted to do something with the house. I think she's viewed it, I'm not quite sure, but the last conversation I had, I think she has viewed it, and maybe, you know, when I shook off this mortal coil, she'll come up here and settle down, because her chat was that she got a good vibe from this house. She got a good vibration, because there were good people who said Kirsty and Sheena were very good living Christian people, and I think that appealed to Peggy. For my part, I'm out of it now. I'm allowed to come here and sit in the windowsill, but not much else. I'm not terribly interested. But strangely enough, I got a strange offer about maybe 6 months ago. A guy with more money than sense came up to me and said, "Aharamich, would you sell that croft house that you've got in Stromore to me?" I said, "What would you do with it?" I said, "I would knock it down and build a new castle," because in North Uist everybody builds palaces. This house at one time would have had no fewer than about 9 people inside it, but now couples have 5-bedroom houses. They need big houses and big bedrooms to go with their big heads. So I think this guy wanted to acquire the stance, demolish it and put up a kit house. I don't know. I referred him to my wife, and I don't know if he's been in touch with her. And if he has, and he's offering a good bit of money, then it's time I get over to Oban and have a wee word with Peggy, you know, try to reconcile. So there you have it. In short, the 2 names you must remember in connection with 7 Stromore are Peggy and Taramat. We Hebrideans have no imagination when it comes to identifying ourselves. So I'm called after Taramat, my grandfather, and the guy who owned the house here, or was the crofty here, he had the lease, was called Callan Elling. He was Colin, son of Alan McKinnon. And his mother was called, would you believe, Peggy Haramich, Peggy, daughter of Norman. And these names have bedeviled me all my life. Peggy and Norman. My mother was Peggy, called after her grandmother, and I'm Norman, called after my grandfather. But this is Teigiathike, this was Colin's house, and known by young people from Lochmaddy who used to come out here for sweets as Tei Nangoer, the house of the goats. And I think that's enough from this particular goat.